Now, Trump and the Patriots, they have been controlling this event from day one. Remember, there are certain things that Trump, his team needed to do. Q was silent for something like 12 days. It was done on purpose. They knew the deep state playbook. Remember, this has to do with the economy, the central bank, the deep state players. They needed this because they needed to push the Patriot agenda forward. Plus, it exposes the mainstream media and the deep state. You think they're not monitoring all this? Remember, Trump is suing the Washington Post, CNN, and the New York Times. This all has been monitored. Trump, the Patriots, they have controlled this from the beginning. They're continually controlling it, and they know exactly when this is all going to come to an end. Actually, Trump and Q have told us this. Trump today came out and told the deep state and told those who are pushing this agenda that it will be coming to an end. Remember, Trump, he's not working at a place of weakness. He's working at a place of strength. The deep state, the mainstream media, they are working at a place of weakness, making it look like they have the strength. But the opposite is actually happening. And we're going to see things start to turn around come the end of March into April. Now, is it going to be like snap your finger and everything changes? No. All of a sudden, we'll start to see things move in all different directions. Slowly but surely, the mainstream media will try to keep pushing until they can't push anymore. And then as we enter the mid part of April to the end of April, this entire event will start to fall apart. Trump and the Patriots already know this. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. But first, it seems like there are still people out there pushing a lot of fake news. And what's very interesting is that Trump, his team, they put out a video of Joe Biden, and Twitter came out and said it was manipulated. Then, yesterday, when the stock market took a 2,000-point hit, we had Rick Wilson and Scarborough. They tweeted out a fake tweet by Trump, which was back in 2015, I believe. And it says, if the Dow Jones ever falls more than 1,000 points in a single day, the sitting president should be loaded into a very big cannon and shot into the sun at tremendous speed. No excuses. Now, this tweet was fake, but Rick Wilson and Scarborough tweeted it out. Now, Scarborough, he deleted his. Rick Wilson kept his up. It's still up today. And a lot of people are saying this is fake. And you know what he put under it? I know. But he left it up. But what's very interesting is that Twitter didn't say that this was a manipulated or fake tweet. There's nothing there. It seems like it's real. Unless you read the comments and you actually go and see that this is completely fake. Now, the individual, Sean Usher, he created the fake tweet. He admitted that he created it. But it seems that Twitter doesn't care. And this individual, Rick Wilson, is continually just having it up there, knowing it's fake. Now, very interestingly, since we're talking about fake news, Tennessee lawmakers, they have advanced a measure to designate CNN, Washington Post as fake news outlets. And that is really incredible because these mainstream media outlets, I believe a lot of them won't even exist when everything is all said and done, because people are going to wake up and they're going to start to see that, yeah, they've just been pushing fear, panic, and fake information. Look what they're doing with the coronavirus or COVID-19. All they've been doing is pushing fear and panic over and over and over, and all they've been talking about is a recession. That Trump is doing everything wrong. We're entering a recession. He's not protecting the people. But Trump knows exactly what he's doing. All this is going to be turned around. Everything is going to be turned around, and the mainstream media is going to look like fools. And they're going to be exposed once again. At each phase of the plan, if you notice, the mainstream media is continually being shown to the people that they push out fake information over and over and over again. This is part of it, to show the people, don't listen. Now, very interestingly, we have another resignation. This is Wells Fargo Chairman Elizabeth Duke. She was set to appear in front of Congress for a congressional hearing, and she decided to step down ahead of that. So we have a lot of CEOs, they are resigning, and the number continually grows and grows and grows. And we know that this is all because Trump is gaining more and more power. His administration, the movement is growing, and Trump is draining the swamp. As he drains more and more of the swamp, he has more and more power. Since he has more and more power, CEOs, certain politicians, certain individuals, what do? Well, they want to get out of the entire picture here because they don't want to be called out on anything. So they decide, you know what? It's time for me to leave. I see what's happening here. No one is stopping him, and I'm not sticking around. Actually, Biden can't even stop him. Because if Biden could stop him, all these CEOs wouldn't have resigned. But they're resigning anyhow. And we see that all the individuals that were running against Biden are now endorsing him. We have now Cory Booker, who decided it is time to endorse Biden. Now, of course, as we know, Biden is having a lot of problems on the campaign trail. He got into a big argument in Detroit about the Second Amendment, where there was a auto worker saying, listen, are you going to take our guns away? Biden said, no, I'm not going to take your guns away. And he says, well, you said it in a speech. And then Biden said, he's full of shit. But it is true. Biden did say it. And we know that's been their plan from the very, very beginning. Their plan is to remove the weapons from the people. We know it going all the way back to Obama, when John Kerry had the UN Arms Treaty in the Senate. If that was passed by the Senate, Obama was going to sign it. They were going to use it to take the weapons away from the people. But guess what? That didn't work. And this isn't going to work either. Now, very interestingly, with Joe Biden, his brother James Biden, it seems that the Federal Bureau of Investigation raided a healthcare business linked to Joe Biden's brother in late January, reported on that. They seized a lot of boxes and documents and things like that. This was a raid on AmeriCorps Health Hospital. And it seems that Joe's brother is now facing allegations of influence of peddling. So it seems like he's in a little bit of trouble right now. And it seems like this is a family thing. His brother is corrupt. His son is corrupt. And he is corrupt. Corruption, I guess, runs in their family. Now, we know that the deep state, the D's, they are still pushing to get 3 things that they needed to impeach Trump. They haven't given up. Remember Don McGahn, his testimony, the grand jury information, and the tax returns from Trump. And just recently, there was a 2-1 ruling from a federal appeals court panel that gave the House permission to access the grand jury secrets in the Mueller report. Now, the one judge who dissented, Naomi Rao, the only Trump appointee on the 3-person panel, said the lower court does not have the authority to order the Department of Justice to disclose the redacted portion of the Mueller report to Congress. But remember, the other judges who are blackmailed and told what to do, they said, no, you have to give all the information. Everything that's redacted, the grand jury information, it has to be handed over. Now, once again, we've seen this before. I know the mainstream media is probably making a really big deal out of this. But remember, we had appeals courts say, hey, Trump has to hand over his tax returns. Hey, Don McGahn's testimony has to be handed over. And what happens? Well, the Department of Justice comes out and they file an appeal. And the case goes to where? The Supreme Court. This is where they all end up. Once they get there, they look at the information and they realize, no, this is not the right ruling. You can't have the testimony. You can't have the tax returns. You can't have the grand jury information. And this is exactly where this is going. Now, while this whole thing's going on with coronavirus and the mainstream media is very busy with this, the news cycle is clogged with coronavirus, with shutdowns, quarantines, trying to build the fear factor to the red level. What's happening in the background that they're not reporting on? Everything is very quiet. It's almost like we're in a period of silence, silent running. Didn't Q just say this? Brian Cates tweeted out the following. Amazing how quietly this is going on, isn't it? Ron Johnson is leading an investigation of Ukraine corruption. Rudy and others have handed off evidence to the Department of Justice. Graham's hearings on FISA abuse are ongoing. Nobody remembers. It's perfect. Richard Grinnell is now acting DNI, quietly going about his business. Timothy Shea is now running the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, and the outside U.S. attorneys he brought in are digging through the Mueller special counsel's case files, quietly, silent running. And Durham is still patiently, methodically, and exhaustively sifting through the massive paper trail all these Spygate idiots left behind them. Include phones and EC records. What a fun spring this is turning out to be. Remember, Q has told us that this is going to be a very hot spring and summer. Because while the mainstream media is very busy with their latest event, Trump is using it to his advantage, and all these investigations are ongoing. And it doesn't matter how much they clog the news cycle, they can't stop what is coming. And we know that this event will not last. We'll be talking about that in just a moment. But remember when Dan Scavino tweeted out that meme with Trump playing the violin saying nothing can stop what's coming, and then Q came online, and this was a Q proof where someone on the Acun board said, hey, can Q Plus retweet this? And Trump did, because Q Plus is Trump. Think about what that message was. It was about everything that was going on, because that phrase was attached to many posts that had to do with Epstein, Durham, other investigations, Clinton emails, Uranium One, letting us know that nothing is going to stop what's coming that has to do with the deep state. And we already see that Prince Andrew, who said he was going to cooperate with the FBI, that he has nothing to hide, he completely shut the door on helping the FBI or anyone else. He is no longer cooperating. Why? I thought he was innocent. I thought he had nothing to do with this. If you have nothing to do with this, there'd be no problem cooperating. If he's hiding something, he was never going to cooperate. And what is he doing? He is not cooperating whatsoever. Now, out in Saudi Arabia, they are draining the swamp. They have arrested 4 Saudi princes, detained and investigated for treason. And these individuals, they were planning to have a palace coup. Now, do you think the deep state wanted to get back into power? You think they wanted to remove who is in charge right now? Because they know exactly what is coming. They understand that Saudi Arabia was Wonderland. And they know that Trump and the Patriots, they have it all. And they were trying to get back in power. And it completely failed. Now, with this new event with COVID-19 or coronavirus, the mainstream media, they are repeating the same script over and over and over. And this is how you know that this is a planned event and that they're pushing fear. Let's go back in time a little bit. An MSNBC roundtable agreed this weekend that Trump's response to the coronavirus outbreak could be his Katrina moment. Now, remember that word, Katrina moment. When we go back in time, all the mainstream media outlets repeated the same exact script, which they're doing right now. Chicago Sun-Times op-ed declared later the same year of a different weather event, Hurricane Maria is Trump's Hurricane Katrina. Puerto Rico is becoming Trump's Katrina, Rolling Stone. Vanity Fair says, is the crisis in Puerto Rico becoming Trump's Katrina? Later in 2018, The Atlantic's Malika Rayo wrote on the emotive images of illegal immigrant families being separated at the border for an article titled Trump's Katrina Moment. Former New York Times executive editor Jill Abramson wrote elsewhere that year for The Guardian, the forced separation of families is Trump's Katrina moment. CNN's chief legal analyst Jeffrey Toobin said the border crisis is Trump's Katrina moment. The coronavirus right now is Trump's Katrina moment. They are continually using the same script, and they've said this over and over and over. The thing they don't realize is that Trump and the Patriots knew their playbook. Trump and the Patriots are exposing the mainstream media, the deep state plans. They use this against them. And what they don't realize is it has already failed. Now, Xi Jinping, he is going to make the first visit to Wuhan City, where the outbreak started, and he's going to visit there. And Rudy Giuliani said something very interesting, and he compared Obama to Trump. This is what he tweeted out. It took Barack Obama until October of 2009 to declare swine flu a national health emergency. It began in April of 2009, but Obama waited until 20,000 people in the U.S. had been hospitalized and 1,000 plus had died. Where was the media hysteria then? There was no media hysteria. Obama and crew are all part of the deep state. They control the mainstream media. Of course they're not going to report on it. They only report on things they want the mainstream media to report on. Trump is an outsider. They don't want Trump to succeed. They don't want Trump to drain the swamp. They don't want Trump to get rid of the central bank. They don't want Trump to end the endless wars. They don't want Trump to stop the illegals coming into this country. They don't want Trump getting rid of the deep state and exposing all the crimes against humanity, treason, sedition. They don't want any of this. This is why they've been trying to stop him from day one, and it has failed. And of course, what are we seeing? Well, it looks like there are certain individuals like Matt Gaetz, Representative Doug Collins, we have Ted Cruz, Paul Kosar. They're all self-quarantined because there was an individual that supposedly had coronavirus who shook Matt Schlapp's hand, and this individual was in CPAC. So all these individuals for 14 days, a point of contact, they are self-quarantining themselves. None of them are showing signs of anything. They're all fine. Was this a push, or was this a different plan by Trump? Very interesting. Now, Trump tweeted out the following. The fake news media and their partner, the Democratic Party, is doing everything within its semi-considerable power, it used to be greater, to inflame the coronavirus situation far beyond what the facts would warrant. Surgeon General, the risk is low to the average American. And Trump continually tweets these things out there, letting everyone know that this panic, this fear that you're seeing, is ginned up by the mainstream media. It's ginned up by the deep state. Now, Pence and Trump, they met with executives from several health insurance companies at the White House. And this would be private insurers, Medicare, Medicaid. And these health insurance companies are going to waive coronavirus copays for all testing and treatment. Now, why would they do this? Well, of course, they're trying to help the American people. They're trying to make sure that everyone is tested. Why do they want everyone tested? Because they're following the South Korean model. How do you know who's infected and who's not infected? How do you prove that it's not as bad as everyone is saying? Now, and the mainstream media is out there, they're pushing numbers like crazy. We have to, like New York, for instance, we have to quarantine the New Rochelle area because it's out of hand. Remember those states that want emergency funding. California, Florida, New Jersey, you name it. They're pushing the idea that the outbreak is crazy. Now, in Korea, what did they do? They tested many, many people. Massive testing. And they found out that this isn't as bad as everyone was saying. It calmed the population. Trump and Pence and his administration, the Patriots, they are allowing everyone to get tested, because once everyone is tested and it shows the true, real number, that the number of people is very low, and all the numbers that New York is making up, California's making up, the mainstream media is making up, once this is out there, it calms the situation down. Take this a step further. We already know from researchers in China, temperature plays a role in the coronavirus, just like it does with the flu. When we come into the warmer weather, what happens? It's going to break it down. We also know there's a vaccine company out there that is going to have human trials in April. Doesn't mean everyone's going to be vaccinated. Just knowing that there's a vaccine, there's a cure, that not that many people have it, what does it do? It takes the fear out of the equation. I want to go back to post 1332. This is May 10th, 2018. This is a 2-year delta. And it's very interesting what Q put out at this time. It says, fellow patriots, what you are about to learn should not only scare you, but intensify your resolve to take back control. Freedom is in brackets and bold. The information that will become public will further demonstrate the criminal and corrupt pure evil, and that's pure evils in brackets and bold, abuse of power that the Hussein administration undertook in joint efforts with domestic and foreign dignitaries. The snowball has begun rolling. There is no stopping it now. D5. Stay the course and trust the plan. Protective measures are in place. Remain brave. We knew this day would come. United we stand worldwide. Where we go one, we go all. We fight. Conspiracy no more. And I'll leave you with this. Trump, today, let the deep state know that this entire event is about to end. He sent a message to the American people, to the deep state, to the mainstream media. Remain calm, and this is all going to go away.